Coming up on the British TV watch list.
There's no room to breathe. No room to let a character sit with something or let a subplot develop.
From cozy mysteries to intense police procedurals, we talk about the characters, performances, series, and episodes from your favourite British TV shows.
Imagine a village where all you can hear is the ducks on the pond, roses climbing the garden gate, a cricket match on the green, and a body in the vicarage garden. That's Midsomer, and I've been visiting it for years. Maybe you have too. I'm talking about Midsomer Murders. It's one of the longest-running detective dramas in British television history. Been going since 1997. It's now in its 25th season, and it shows no signs of stopping. Today, I want to dig into what this show is, where it came from, and who drives it, and most importantly, why it's still here. Let's start at the beginning. The show is based on a series of novels by Caroline Graham. She was born in Warwickshire in 1931. She had one of those lives that kind of reads like a novel itself. She worked in a factory, served in the Royal Navy, trained as a dancer in Paris, and ran a marriage bureau. She also spent time as an actress and a radio broadcaster. Eventually, she turned to writing, and in 1987, she published a book called The Killings at Badger's Drift. That book introduced the world to Chief Inspector Barnaby. The Crime Writers Association named it one of the 100 best crime novels of all time. 10 years later, that book came to television. The first episode aired on March 23, 1997. It drew 13.5 million viewers on its first night. The show was set in a fictional English county called Midsomer, and it's been filming in the rolling countryside of Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire ever since. Most of the early seasons drew directly from Graham's novels. After that, original scripts took over entirely, and there have been a lot of them, 144 episodes and counting. More than Poirot, more than Columbo. The show has always been built around one central figure, the detective, a DCI named Barnaby. And there have been two of them. The first was Tom Barnaby. He was played by John Nettles. Nettles was born in Cornwall in 1943. He studied at the University of Southampton, caught the acting bug, and spent years doing theater, including work with the Royal Shakespeare Company. British audiences knew him before Midsomer Murders arrived. He spent 9 years playing Detective Sergeant Jim Bergerac on the BBC. That show ran from 1981 to 1991. Landing a second iconic detective role is rare. Nettles managed it, and he made it look easy. He played Tom Barnaby for 14 years. The character he built was warm, steady, and patient. He had a dry wit and a full home life. His wife Joyce was played by Jane Wymark. His daughter Cully was played by Laura Howard. The family wasn't just decorations. They were part of how the show breathed. Tom would come home, eat dinner, talk to Joyce, and you'd understand who he was outside of the job. As a detective, Tom was methodical. He didn't leap to conclusions. He watched and listened. At times, he felt more like a college professor than a police detective. John Nettles gave you a detective you trusted completely. Tom had 3 detective sergeants during his run. First came D.S. Gavin Troy, played by Daniel Casey. Troy was green and a little rough around the edges, but the dynamic worked because Tom had patience to burn. Then came D.S. Daniel Scott, played by John Hopkins. Scott was morally grayer, more complicated. Then came D.S. Ben Jones. Jason Hughes played Ben. And that pairing clicked best of all. The chemistry between Nettles and Hughes brought a warmth to the show the early seasons didn't always have. Sometimes warmth is good. Sometimes you want nothing but cool. When it comes to clothing and staying cool, you want to look for moisture-wicking material, and you can find it at Pins and Aces. You got bold design, comfortable four-way stretch material, great for golfers and non-golfers too. And right now, you can get up to 30% off at pinsandaces.com. Shop there, pinsandaces.com. Just use our promo code BTVW1. That's BTVW1. It helps us with a small commission, and you get a great deal on some cool, bold clothing from pinsandaces.com. That's BTVW1. Nettles left in 2011. His final episode was called Fit for Murder, and the show did something smart. Instead of simply replacing him, it introduced a cousin, DCI John Barnaby, played by Neil Dudgeon. Dudgeon was born in Doncaster in 1961. He trained at the University of Bristol and built a solid career in British television. He actually appeared in Midsomer Murders years earlier, playing a completely different character in season 4. British TV recycles actors into new roles in the same show. They have to, because there are only about 100 British actors, and they all show up in every show on BritBox and Acorn TV. I'm just kidding. John Barnaby is a different animal than Tom Barnaby. Where Tom was warm, John is guarded. Where Tom's humor was dry and easy, John's runs darker. Dudgeon himself described the character as someone who places cards close to his chest, someone who adapts his approach to get results, even if that means looking weak or foolish in the moment. John's home life feels more modern. His wife Sarah is played by Fiona Dolman. She's sharper and more present than Joyce was. John has had 3 detective sergeants. He inherited D.S. Ben Jones, played by Jason Hughes. Then came D.S. Charlie Nelson, played by Gwillem Lee for seasons 16 through 18. Then D.S. Jamie Winter, played by Nick Hendricks. Winter is dry, deadpan, and oddly formal. The banter between Dudgeon and Hendricks has become the engine of the current era. Winter joined in season 19 and is still there today, making him the longest-serving DS in the show's history. Nettles gave you a detective you trusted. Dudgeon gives you a detective you're always slightly reading, and both of them work. I've thought a lot about why this show is still here after 25 seasons, and I believe the answer is writing. It's always the writing. The setting is gorgeous. The murders can be genuinely inventive. One victim was staked to his own croquet lawn and pelted with wine bottles fired from his replica Roman trebuchet. That's a medieval catapult. Another was killed by poisoned dart frog venom applied to the blades of a stage magic trick. But scenery and creative kills aren't enough to keep a show alive for 25 seasons. What keeps Midsomer Murders standing is that the scripts consistently deliver. Every single episode, you get a real story with a beginning, middle, and a very satisfying end. Part of what makes that possible is the format itself. A typical American network procedural runs about 42 minutes, give or take. That's enough time to set up a crime, introduce suspects, and deliver a resolution. But just barely. There's no room to breathe. No room to let a character sit with something or let a subplot develop. Midsomer Murders runs 90 minutes. That extra time allows the writing to develop scenes and characters more completely. With Midsomer Murders, every episode is its own complete story. You can watch season 18 without seeing season 2, and you lose nothing. The show trusts its writing to carry 90 minutes on its own. British television does that better than anyone. That kind of consistency is rare. A writing staff that has kept the format intact for nearly 3 decades. Different writers, different directors, different casts, and yet the show remains essentially the same season to season. That doesn't happen by accident. The original producer, Brian True May, ran the show for its first 89 episodes and was a fierce guardian of the formula. He wasn't wrong about that part. The show has changed over the years, though. The early episodes feel more grounded, more rooted in village tension and social class. The murders got more theatrical as the shows went on. Some episodes lean hard into dark comedy. And at 90 minutes, some episodes drag. A few too many drawing room conversations before the final reveal. That's to be expected. They can't all be award-winning scripts. Well, this idea may not win an award, but it could save you some money. If you have part of your paycheck withheld and set aside in a health savings account, you can shop at CozyEarth.com and apply your HSA funds. There are several items approved for HSA purchase. Check them out at CozyEarth.com. And right now, you can get up to 30% off that purchase when you use my promo code at CozyEarth.com. Just enter BTVW1 when you check out. That helps us with a small commission, and it gives you a big discount. Once again, CozyEarth.com, promo code BTVW1. The show also had real controversy. In 2011, co-creator and producer Brian May gave an interview to Radio Times in which he explained the show's all-white casting this way, quote, "We are a cosmopolitan society in this country, but if you watch Midsomer, you wouldn't think so. We just don't have ethnic minorities involved because it wouldn't be the English village with them. They love the perceived English genteel eccentricity. We're the last bastion of Englishness, and I wanted to keep it that way," unquote. He was suspended, reinstated, and then resigned. And here's what's worth noting. The show had been running for 14 years before anyone raised it as an issue. May didn't create the casting policy in that interview. He just explained it. The controversy was entirely self-inflicted. His replacement, producer Joe Wright, said simply, quote, "I feel strongly that a range of ethnic groups should be represented on screen. I will cast the series in the same way as I always do, by starting with the best script. And a good script will include a variety of different characters," unquote. The production moved on. Season 14 launched right in the middle of the storm and drew nearly 6 million viewers. The formula held. 25 seasons. It's seen in more than 200 countries, and it's still going strong on ITV in the UK and on Acorn TV. I've seen every episode, and I'll keep watching, because when Midsomer Murders is at its best, there's nothing quite like it. The village looks like a painting, the murder is absurd, the detective is unshakable, and by the time the credits roll, everything is resolved and the roses are still climbing the gate. That's the formula, and good writing is what keeps it alive. Hey, before we go, I want to say hello to our listeners in Montclair, New Jersey, USA, Pikeville, Kentucky, and Selby, North Yorkshire, England. Let's rack up some more cities. Love to see where we are around the world. Share this podcast with your friends around the world. I'd appreciate it. And if you want to support this podcast, I'd appreciate that too. Check out our Patreon site. Your support makes all the difference. You can also support us by shopping at CozyEarth.com and PinsandAces.com. Use our promo code BTVW1 to get as much as 30% off when you check out. That's it for now. Thanks for listening to the British TV Watch List. Until next time, cheers.
The British TV Watch List is written and produced by Michael T. in Honolulu, Hawaii. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. All rights reserved. Copyright 2026. Michael T. Media.